What is up, guys? It is AJ from MMA Experts, and we are talking about the potential fight between Zabit Magomedsharipov and Alexander Volkanovski. Now, Zabit was supposed to be fighting Yair Rodriguez August 29th. Yair pulls out. Calvin Kattar willing to step in. Zabit has turned that down, which I actually understand and kind of agree with. He beat Calvin Kattar fairly recently, and he won a unanimous decision. It wasn't split. It wasn't super close. He did win clearly those first two rounds. Now, third round, he gassed a bit. Calvin Kattar won that third round. It's a tricky fight. It's not easy. Zabit versus Calvin Kattar is a tricky matchup for Zabit because Calvin Kattar is a high stamina fighter that's good for 5 rounds, and Zabit fades a bit going into the third, at least from what we have seen. Now, he may have improved that, but does he still really want to take the risk of Calvin Kattar? Not really, because if he loses, that's a bad loss, and if he wins now, it's like, oh, I beat a guy I already beat. I have 2 wins over him now. What is it really doing for him, right? So I totally understand why he is not interested. He wants Volkanovski. He said to the champion, it's time for new blood. Let's get it. Now, Volkanovski, I know Dana White said he was interested in doing a Volkanovski-Holloway trilogy. I think let's wait on that one, because if you have Max losing 3 times in a row to Volkanovski, there's not going to be a 4th fight. And then if you have Volkanovski win, now it's kind of like, why would he not get a 4th fight? He beat him twice. So it's a tricky situation. I think you got to do Volkanovski versus somebody new, Holloway versus somebody new. So let's talk about Zabit versus Volkanovski. Now, obviously, that is an interesting matchup. Zabit is a hell of a striker with a very good grappling game. Volkanovski, high stamina guy, has shown he can go the 5 rounds and look good doing it. I mean, he beat Max Holloway twice. And even if you say he lost this last one, it was a very competitive fight against Max Holloway. You know, in most people's opinion, the greatest featherweight of all time. Let me pull up Zabit's tail of the tape. I want to talk a little bit more about him. This looks so weird here. I don't know what that is. Okay, it's fixed now. Let me put myself normal size or shrunken down size a bit. All right, here we go. Okay, so Zabit right here. As you see, 29 years of age, 6'1", with a 73-inch reach. I have Volkanovski right here. Volkanovski, 31 years old, 5'6", with a 71.5-inch reach. The one thing Volkanovski has that's a huge equalizer, being a short guy, is this long reach. 71.5-inch reach. That's a 5'11" person and a half-inch reach on a guy 5'6". That's impressive. Now, if you look at Volkanovski's resume, it is sick. Look at this. Look at his last 4 fights. 2 wins over Max Holloway, a win over Jose Aldo and Chad Mendes, arguably top 5, all of them top 5 greatest featherweights of all time. You know, Conor McGregor obviously has got to be somewhere in the mix, at least in terms of impressiveness. He was super impressive at featherweight, was the champion, beat Chad Mendes, beat Jose Aldo, and beat Max Holloway. But damn, that's a sick list. Before that, beat Darren Elkins, who's a hell of a tough guy. If you look in his earlier fights, this is a while back now, you know, not crazy notable names, but tough guys, and he won. He's winning fights. He's gone the distance. He's shown he has stamina. These 5-round fights against Max Holloway, to me, show how legit the cardio is of Volkanovski. Now, let me pull up Zabit real quick because I want to talk about his last few opponents. Now, Calvin Kattar, as I mentioned, Calvin Kattar wanted the rematch, but it doesn't really, it's for Zabit, it doesn't make sense because that was his last fight against Kattar. So to fight him again, I don't think it's something he wants to do. Totally understand why he's turning this one down. You look before, beat Kyle Bochniak, beat Shayman Moraes, Mike Santiago. Not super huge names, but he won all these fights here. Brandon Davis and Kneebar, that was super, super impressive. Jeremy Stevens he beat, and he beat Calvin Kattar. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a very skilled fighter. Now, Volkanovski is going to be a tricky matchup because the thing about Volkanovski that we have obviously seen is that durability and that equalizer. The reach is the equalizer. Let me just pull up Volkanovski again. 71.5-inch reach, and he's 5'6". His opponent at 6'1" only has a 73-inch reach. That's a 1.5-inch reach advantage with a 7-inch height advantage. Now, the one thing that is going to be tricky for Alexander Volkanovski is the legs of Zabit. He's going to be able to throw kicks from a distance. I think Zabit is going to be able to give him problems on the floor as well. This is a very tricky matchup. If I'm Alexander Volkanovski, I'm very nervous of this matchup because it can be very difficult for me. I mean, Volkanovski has not lost in years. Zabit has not lost in years. Let me see when Zabit's loss was. Oh, he was here. He got tapped by an armbar in 2013. That's forever ago. Volkanovski, I believe he lost his second pro fight. Okay, not his second, but he lost here in the third round. I thought it was 13 seconds. The same, 2013. So these guys have not lost in very long time. And now they're going to be possibly fighting each other. And in my opinion, probably the most exciting featherweight fight we can get right now. I mean, why not do this battle? Like, why? Who would not want to see this fight? This would be crazy. Now, when the fight actually starts, how is it going to go? I think that Zabit is going to give Alexander Volkanovski a lot of problems with that leg reach. Now, obviously, he's taller too, which is going to be an advantage in the clinch situations. I feel like he's going to be able to defend Volkanovski's takedown attempts. I'm actually going to go out on a whim and say I could see Zabit winning this fight by submission. I think he really could. He could submit the very tough Alexander Volkanovski. Now, it's hard to pick against a guy that has never lost in the octagon. Neither of them have lost in the octagon. So I can't say for certain either one of them is going to win. I'm leaning Zabit initially. Without the film study and things like that, I'm leaning Zabit. Obviously, I've seen him fight since, he came into the octagon, and same with Volkanovski. I've seen them build in the featherweight division, but I'm leaning with Zabit, if Zabit has the stamina. Now, my only concern is if Zabit gasses himself, and now after round 3, 4, and 5, he is going to drown against Volkanovski. But I am going to assume that his stamina is going to be improved, and I think he's going to come in very ready for this fight against Alexander Volkanovski. And I think Zabit could really be holding this title before 2021. If we do this fight, I think Zabit could be a champion. And now there's plenty of fights. There's a rematch of Volkanovski. You have Max Holloway. There's so many crazy fights for Zabit if he's the champion. I really am leaning Zabit right now. I think Zabit gets it done. I think he could really submit Max Holloway. He could submit Alexander Volkanovski and even beat Max Holloway. To be honest, stylistically, that would be a very fun fight. If he's not going to be fighting against Alexander Volkanovski, then somebody like a Max Holloway might be a person to talk about. I mean, I don't know who else would really want to take this fight August 29th on short notice. I don't even think Holloway would really want to do it. I think Calvin Kattar's the only guy. Zabit is going to wait. He wants that title shot. I think there's a good chance he gets it. I think that featherweight division would, really expand from defending that belt quick. Getting Volkanovski a bit more notoriety because, he beat Max Holloway twice. I believe he has somewhat of a name now. And Magomedsharipov, Zabit, he's a pretty popular guy, at least among the hardcore fans, and I think the casuals kind of know who he is too. He's a savage. I want to see this fight. I really hope that they book it. I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is subject to change. I'm going to pick Zabit pulling off a submission victory. I'm not giving you guys a round, though, because I am not 100% confident in this pick. But I do think we see a victory for Zabit in what I believe will be one of the most exciting featherweight matchups and buildups of all time. This fight will be off the chain, and I feel like the buildup will be crazy. Zabit is insane. The way he fights is so creative, so skilled. He might knock out Alexander Volkanovski. This is the fight to book. I'm telling you guys. This fight will be crazy. We need to get this fight booked. I promise it's going to sell. I feel like fans are going to go nuts. And when this fight actually happens, I think we may have a fight of the night contender, fight of the year type fight, because these guys are freaking masterpieces. Alexander Volkanovski is awesome. Zabit Magomedsharipov is awesome. It's a crazy style matchup. Volkanovski doesn't really come with that same kicking attack that Zabit will have, that the kicks that he'll keep him at range with. I think Volkanovski's going to have a tricky time. Now, Volkanovski, though, who knows if Henry Cejudo maybe is going to sneak his way into a shot. I don't think that he will right now, but it could happen, and I don't think that I don't think that Henry Cejudo would be willing to fight Zabit if Zabit's the champion. Now, we'll see what happens, but I'm saying let's do the Zabit fight. This is the featherweight division. The super fight stuff is fun, but I think it's time to give a legitimate contender a shot at the belt outside of, obviously, Max Holloway's legit. He's a former champion, but I want to see Zabit get this shot. Let's do it. Zabit, Volkanovski, sign me up for it. Hopefully sometime, maybe by November, maybe by December. Let's get this fight as a crazy pay-per-view. Maybe things will start opening up, and this will be one of the first cards back in person. Maybe you have that as the main event, or even, I don't know if Conor McGregor, they're saying he's not going to fight in 2021, in 2020. He's going to wait till 2021. So maybe you do it early 2021. I don't know. I think Zabit should fight soon, though, and I hope Volkanovski's ready. I feel like, if possible, let's do this in 2020, with or without fans. This fight's going to be crazy. It's going to sell big on pay-per-view, and it is going to be a spectacle and an absolute treat, especially for the hardcore fans. You're going to see mastery of mixed martial arts here. But all right, guys, that is pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. Also, guys, follow my social medias. I'm trying to get popping on all platforms, on my Instagram, my Twitter, start building up that following. My fitness page does fairly well, but that was, for my own personal fitness. But now I'm trying to kind of expand it just to my personal self page, and then the MMA Experts team page and the AJ MMA Experts Twitter, just to post stuff during the fights and whatnot. Check them all out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.